Though I'm mostly known for digital card games, this year I've decided that I'm going to take the dive and get back into physical trading card games quite a bit. And so this video is going to be covering 3 new card games that I'm really excited about that are going to be releasing in 2023. So let's get started. It's no secret that over the past couple of years, I have fallen in love with Flesh and Blood, the trading card game. It kind of reignited my passion, my desire to play physical trading card games in general, because the reality is I missed playing with real people. I missed meeting in person, sitting across the table from an actual opponent instead of just a username on the screen, like we sometimes get with the digital card game experience. And I just missed that kind of community building, that camaraderie. And as a result, this year I decided I'm going to play quite a few more card games that are meant to be played in person. With that in mind, I have 3 that I'm really excited about for this year. We're going to cover all 3 in this video, and we're going to cover them in the order that they will be releasing throughout the year, just so that I'm not playing favorites or anything silly like that. And that means we're going to start with Battle Spirits Saga. This is a game being published by Bandai, and even though this is going to be a brand new card game, it's its own release, it does have a lot of history already. Battle Spirits was a card game in Japan for 14 years. They mentioned that in the launch trailer for this game. It specifically says 14 years of history will be reborn. But this is a global launch or relaunch, however you want to look at it. And they are coming out with a bang. They are coming out swinging. So there is already a $1 million tournament circuit that has been announced for this, as well as a separate kind of pre-release prize pool, which is like $350,000, because they're going to be doing these big events all across the globe. In Vegas, for example, at the end of March, there's a $100,000 tournament for North America. That'll be the first time you can like really competitively get your hands on the game. And this is a game that I think has a lot of the draws that you look for when you're trying to pick up a trading card game. So things that I consider are the mechanics, the playability, right? The collectability. Are there some cool cards to chase potentially? Does it have a good intellectual property, something that draws me in, and art, etc., etc. With this game in particular, I'll be honest, I'm not super familiar with the intellectual property. I did not play Battle Spirits. The art is okay. It's not necessarily 100% my thing. There are some cards I think are really cool, and then there are some other ones that are a bit of a miss with me, but I can understand the draw, the appeal. Here we can take a look at an example, right? This is Alice, and I think this is one of the better pieces as far as the art goes. Yes, you can see the sample there. It's just because this was from their kind of previews when they were posting them on Twitter, and so it's got that big sample watermark. But ultimately, the thing that draws me in is the mechanics and obviously the competitive circuit. So the mechanics is actually pretty neat. At launch, there's going to be 4 different colors, but the game itself uses a thing called cores. So the resource system is your cores, but it's not just you use cores to pay for things. You also use them to power up your cards. That means that every turn, you have to kind of efficiently figure out what the best way to play new things is while powering up your existing cards. And it was a lot cooler in practice when I got to sample the game, when I got to demo the game, and I'm really looking forward to diving in and figuring out what to do with this. Now, as far as the collectability goes, there are already some kind of chase rares or alternate arts that they've announced. There are one for each color that they've already posted on Twitter, so we're just going to cycle through some of the examples here. But overall, I think this is a game that's going to be a lot of fun, and I will likely do a video or 2 on it in the future. Battle Spirits Saga is currently listed as having a spring 2023 release on their website. However, there are publicly scheduled pre-release events for March, which tells me they are likely targeting an April release, maybe early May, but somewhere within that time frame. So you'll want to stay tuned if this is a game that interests you. And like I said, I will likely be doing some additional videos in the future. Now, the second game that I want to talk about has a targeted release of May 2023. However, the Kickstarter for it has already completed. It did smash its goals. This game is Alpha Clash. Now, it's being published by Rising Empire Studios. This is a company that has already done one successful Kickstarter campaign for a graphic novel. The graphic novel is kind of serving as the backbone or the lore for this trading card game. This is a trading card game that is centered around superheroes, And in many ways, it reminds me of a cleaned up version of Magic and almost kind of specifically Commander, because it is still hero centric, but it does also play creatures. It has a resource system kind of similar to Magic, but you don't play lands in your deck. Every card in your deck can be a land. If you're somebody who played like the Spoils or similar games, it might also remind you of those as well. But I've had a chance to play the game. I think mechanically it is pretty sound. I think that the art is pretty solid. They've already got a very nice timeline laid out from their Kickstarter, including when set 2 is supposed to release in the fall. In fact, we'll just put this in the video so you can kind of see the timeline, but this is a game that I'm excited about, though I do inherently want to warn you, it is a Kickstarter game, and it is coming from an intellectual property that is a bit unknown, so those are going to be the challenges, but gameplay-wise, it seems to be a lot of fun. And because it was Kickstarter backed, and also because some of the creators are actually local to my podcast partner, Logan. And if you are not aware, I've been doing a Flesh and Blood podcast called Flesh and Pod with Logan for a few weeks now. So you should be checking that out. It's on all the podcast sites as well as on YouTube. But Logan is local to some of the creators, so he's had a chance to meet with them. Overall, it's been nothing but positive experiences for him and for myself when speaking with them. And again, as a result, this means I have some of the items on hand. So we're going to switch and show you those now. And this is going to be the graphic novel, some cards, etc. So let's take a look. To start with, I felt like I would show off the graphic novel that they were kind enough to send me for a couple of reasons. One, this is kind of the lore, the backbone, the background for the actual card game itself, but also this was their first successful Kickstarter campaign. They did this before the card game, and I felt like I would show you what their finished product for that looked like so that you can at least get an idea of maybe what to expect from the card game, right? To know that they are capable of successfully delivering something, because sometimes with these Kickstarter campaigns, that is a reasonable fear. So here we can see this, again, this is the graphic novel they sent me. There is, believe it or not, a story in here. I have read it. I read the entire thing once they sent it to me. You will get no spoilers from me though, but it does lay a foundation, and I like that some of the factions that are covered by the card game are not fully explained or kind of fleshed out in this first graphic novel. That leaves them some room to grow, both in terms of story and in terms of the card game. But with that in mind, we're going to slide this over now, because after all, this is a video about card games, so we should showcase the cards, right? This is the demo deck. Well, this isn't the entire demo deck, but these are some cards from the demo deck. They actually sent me 2 of them for teaching people how to play. I'm keeping it in this nice little deck box over here, but I felt like I would pull out a couple of cards again just to kind of showcase what you are dealing with here. So this is a contender card. These are like your leaders. Or your commander if you're coming from Magic that you use for this game. Each contender also has some additional text here, so based on health thresholds they will turn on different abilities. And then this game calls them clashers or clash cards, but this is like the equivalent of a creature. And so again, another creature here. I know that the glare isn't doing it any justice. I apologize, that's because of my ring light. I still haven't got my top down lighting sorted out for future trading card game videos, because I've been doing digital stuff for so long, so I apologize. But then, you know, you get actions, spells. Again, the glare here a little rough. I'm hoping that it'll be slightly better on the next thing I showcase, because they were also kind enough to send me some samples for how they are foiling some of these out. So again, these will just say sample series, no actual text here, but you can see sample series down below, and it's just not really doing it justice. These are very pretty in person. So with this in mind, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how some of their promo foils actually come out. They sent me 4 of these sample series ones to kind of show off, but I really dig it. If you are somebody who has been playing Marvel Snap for a long time, it reminds me of their kind of fractal foiling from that game. But obviously these are physical cards, not digital. And then the last thing that they sent me were packs from their first ever print run. So we're going to do a couple of pack openings here. I don't know what to expect from these. I saved these for a moment just like this, and I I'm told that there are some, in this first print run, some actual, like, really cool chase cards. I don't know even, like, where the rares are in the packs. So, you know, with Flesh and Blood, you can kind of get a feel for at what point in each pack they are. So I'm trying to open this down the seam, but turns out I am a failure. Flesh and Blood kind of spoiled me with their paper packs so that I don't have to try as hard anymore. But nonetheless, hey, there we go. Now we got it open. Okay, so we are going to go through pack number 1 here. So we have a Moxie, right? Again, my lighting is not the best that it could be, so I apologize. But we do have Moxie's sidearm. So this is a weapon. Moxie's one of the characters from the graphic novel. Sergeant Weber. Sharpshooter Moxie. Wow, this was really deep on the black color in the game. Sonoro. I'm going one by one here, gang. Guess we should do it this way so that you can get cool reveals. I just was trying to avoid the glare from my ring light. Gotcha. Uh-oh, I see something peeking through there. No spoilers. Is this who you are? And look at that. Look at that. This is a mean streak. And I believe this is a legend rarity based on the gold there. This is quite the pull for my pack opening here. I did not know this was coming. I'm a little bit shocked. I don't even know how to respond. This is pretty too. This has almost got like a sawdust kind of foiling for the primary in certain angles, but then if you tilt it just right, there's also, I don't know how else to describe it. Almost like this digital chipset looking pattern. It's like an interweaving hexagon. So depending on which way you are looking at this, it's kind of foiled in a different way. But this is very, very cool for foiling. And then this is the rare with the blue rarity here. So light power armor. So that was pack number 1. I don't suspect that we're going to get much better than that because the legends are supposed to have a very low pull rate. So that, you know, getting sent in 2 packs, that's a heck of a hit. When I get my Kickstarter stuff in, I ordered 3 boxes, so we'll probably do some box opening videos for that. Maybe by then I'll have my lighting sorted out for slightly better pack opening stuff. I'll be completely honest with you, gang. This is kind of slapped together at the moment, but nonetheless. All right, let's jump into some more here. So we have a magnate. Here, we'll do it like this. I'm kind of doing this at a weird angle as well, just because I don't have this overhead camera quite where I want it to be. A magnate's plan. A mean streak. Hey, look, we actually got some of the other colors showing up in our pack finally. Moxie. Oh, I see another foil poking out. So there is supposed to be 1 foil per pack, but the one that I pulled is, like I said, I think based on the icon, a legend. So here, so this is common foil. This does not have, so this has that sawdust kind of foiling, right? It doesn't have the additional secondary foiling that the other one did. So even their commons, I think, still look pretty solid foil. But this is not as exciting. Still pretty, but not as exciting as the mean streak pull was. Oh, but we do get lucky. So we get now, this is another foil. Now, the thing that's not really showing through, I think, super well, but the gold around Torque's fist here is it's actual like gold foiling, different from the rest of the foiling of the card. So this one is just a rare, but we did get 2 foils in this second pack, and this one is still incredibly pretty. Again, my ring light glare, yeah, this is a little bit better. We'll do it this way. My ring light glare making things a little bit difficult, but this is also an incredibly pretty card. And then, as I said, this was the other one. We'll try to do this without the ring light glare. This has almost like a 2 different kinds of foiling. It's really hard to get it to come through on the camera. Another thing that this one has is, much like the Torque had the gold foiling around the fist, one of the things that this one has is the cost. So like the 4 up in the top right corner is kind of that gold, as well as the name of the character. So now you've seen some sample foils, you've seen some packs opened, you've seen the graphic novel, and hopefully you can kind of understand why I'm excited, because I think that even though this is a Kickstarter, and even though the intellectual property isn't fully established, they do at least have the graphic novel. They do have a plan for the year. Again, we kind of mentioned that timeline before, and I think that they are understanding the kind of collector's side of the game with the foiling and some of the options they have. So all of that on top of the fact that the game doesn't suck, like it's actually enjoyable to play, which I think is kind of refreshing, are the reasons that I'm excited for Alpha Clash. And so with that in mind, there is one last game to cover, and we'll move to that now. I know I said that I was going to move on and talk about the third game, but through the magic of editing, I'm actually doubling back because I wanted to provide accurate information and not mislead anybody. So during the pack opening portion, I actually pulled an iconic rare, so not a legendary. I went and I double checked on the website, and I also checked the set list. So that mean streak that I pulled is an iconic rare. According to the Kickstarter page, that is supposed to be 1 in every 12 packs. I don't know if that also means they're always foil like that, or if the foiling makes it more rare than 1 in 12 packs, but the alt art that I got was an iconic rare. Now, they have a rarity symbol that is normally yellow, whereas the legendaries are orange. And so once you add in the foiling, I think that's why I made the mistake and confused it. But what I pulled was an iconic rare. That being said, still really beautiful. The rare that I pulled was just a normal foil rare. That was the Torque, also really, really beautiful. But I did want to update and say that that is what I pulled, and that's what, you know, you can look forward to if you start opening Alpha Clash as well, because it is still really pretty. So with that in mind, now I'm actually going to move on, and we're going to talk about the third and final game that I'm excited for. The last game that I want to talk about that's going to be releasing in 2023 is Disney Lorcana. Now, this is a card game being produced by Ravensburger, and there are a number of reasons to be excited for this game. It's set to release in August, and it's going to be a staggered release. The cards will be first available at Gen Con, then local game stores will get the official beginning release, and then a couple of weeks after that, the cards will be available at the big box stores. So I love this because they are supporting the local game stores first. They are getting people to go there, kind of start building that community ahead of time, really rewarding, you know, perhaps parents and children coming in, kind of doing that together. And I'll talk a bit more about that kind of business side of it in a bit, but the reason that you're excited about this game is that this is a very well-known intellectual property. It has a very deep IP to pull from when you think about everything that Disney owns and does. Now, yes, Disney owns Marvel and some of those other things, but I think this is going to stick to your more traditional Disney titles, or at least here in the immediate future. Some of the cards that we've already seen have classics like Mickey Mouse and Maleficent, but we've also seen Elsa and Aladdin and some of those others. And so I really am looking forward to this product. I think that there's going to be a high level of collectability, very similar to the way Pokemon is done. I'm also hoping that the organized play is going to be similar to Pokemon, where perhaps there are age groups or just some way to get parents and their children both involved without it being just a free-for-all. And so if they nail that, I think that that's going to be a really big part of this game. But the collector market is just going to be huge. Now, we don't know a lot about the gameplay specifically for this yet. So with Battle Spirits, I'm very excited for the cores. I've played the game. With Alpha Clash, I'm very excited for that gameplay because it's like smoother magic. Here, sadly, we don't know a lot about the actual gameplay. We do know that there are going to be 6 colors. They call them inks. That part's been confirmed. There are 3 starter decks, and each one is a pair of 2 of the inks together. So that's on the product page. Again, we kind of can piece that together, but we're just going to have to wait and see. So supposedly in the spring, we're going to get a kind of demo or gameplay reveal of the actual gameplay itself. I might do a follow-up video when that happens, but this is exciting for me. I'll be honest, just because I'm a parent. And while I've been really enjoying Flesh and Blood, it's not really the best game to get my children involved with trading card games. And so I feel like this is going to be a really big win for me. I know that I could just dive into Pokemon with my kids right now, but I think that starting from scratch, having this be something we can do together. And I'll be honest, as somebody who covers card games and I do commentary, I've been doing it for Flesh and Blood now, and obviously I've traveled all over the world doing it for digital card games. There is a selfish appeal to me here where I just want to have the opportunity to provide professional commentary for a Disney game at Disney World. Like, that would make me the coolest dad on the planet if I were to be able to take my kids to Disney World and say, hey, watch dad, cast the world championships for Disney Lorcana. I would be able to retire on my dad points at that point in time. So with that in mind, I do legitimately think that this is still a game to watch. Like I said, at a minimum, the collectability of this is going to be insane because you're going to have kids that want to get involved. You're going to have the Disney parents, adults, etc. This is an IP with a huge reach. I think that this will get people in the door. Overall, I just think that this is going to be good for the trading card business, the trading card community as a whole, because if you can get people who have never really got into trading card games to try this out, that kind of becomes the gateway for them to try out some of the others. So that's it for the games that I'm excited for. I'd love to hear which ones of these are ones that you're perhaps excited for. I know that there are some other ones coming out this year that I left out. For example, One Piece is already released. That one, I see the appeal of it. It's just not necessarily something for me. I know Grand Archive is coming out later this year. So if perhaps there's a game that you know about that I didn't cover in this video, mention it in the comments. If there is one of these games in particular you want to see more of, let me know. At some point, I'm sure I will do a video or two on each of them throughout the year, but this is what I'm excited for. And on that note, I hope to see you across from me at a local game store or at some, big North American event playing one of these, because again, that's the big appeal to physical card games for me, is that I just enjoy seeing people and meeting people once again. It's just very refreshing. So I hope to see you at one of them. Thanks for watching, and until next time.